everyone, Amanda here from Create with Scrimping Mummy. So today I'm going to do a tutorial on my trick or treat folio. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it in the description box below where you get a full tour of it. So it is an online class, so there is a cutting guide. It is a very minimal cost. It's like £2. It's minimal just to help me cover cost of supplies, okay? I'm not the world's most experienced folio maker, so I'm not going to charge you like, you know, $20, $30. It's £2, okay, which in USD is probably about $2.50 maximum. But it's beautiful, so it's well worth a try because I worked really hard on it. So there is a cutting guide, so you download the cutting guide, cut and score all of your pieces, get yourself ready, and label them accordingly with the corresponding letters. Before we start, somebody did ask, and I'll try and keep this concise, where do I get all of my ideas from? A lot of ideas from a journal making and other things I make up completely myself, okay? When it comes to folios and mini albums, it's all quite new to me. So I have spent hours, probably hundreds of hours, watching videos and getting inspiration. So whilst I don't directly copy anybody's work or directly copy people's measurements, I get a lot of inspiration, okay? And I write them down in my little book of inspiration, and then when I'm making a folio or an album, I'll use the ideas, okay? And I'll adapt them. So here are the main people who I watch. So these are the people that you will see inspiration from in my work. So we've got Scrap and Coffee. So these are the channel names on YouTube, okay? Scrap and Coffee. We've got Your Book of Memories. I think the lady's name's Frances. You get lots of inspiration from there. She does beautiful work. You don't get the measurements, so but you know, you can still follow along and get the inspiration, and that's how I do it and how I've taught myself. Paper Phenomenon, of course, I don't know why that's not at the top of the list. My all-time favourite. Heaps of inspiration over there. Heaps. She's just amazing. That's where I've got my paperclip idea from. I've given credit before. That's where I've got that idea. Create with Martha Tucker. She does lovely, what I call clean and simple. There's not heaps of embellishments. They're quite easy to follow, and she gives you the sizes there and then. Ann Keita's Craft Corner. Now, hers are just fun to watch. Some of them are a little bit complicated for me. I'm not going to lie. But she's fantastic. So, Ann Keita. So, Ankitas. Ann Keita's Craft Corner. And then I've watched a few by a lady called Michelle Allen, A Creative Operation. And that's where I got the inspiration for my lay flat album cover that I did the Alice mini album from. So without further ado, let's stop waffling, grab your pieces, and let's try and get this done in one video. Okay, so off we go. So you will know if you've got the cutting guide that you have to cut 2 of everything. That is because the folio is just completely mirror imaged. So what we construct on the left, we're doing exactly the same on the right. We're just placing the different elements mirror image. So on the left hand side, for example, this is going that way, and on this side it's going that way. That flap there goes this way on the left, and on the right it goes that way. So just keep that in mind when you are completing your pieces. I'm going to put together the left side, but I'll show you both bases first. So you've got 2 A pieces and 2 B pieces. So on your B piece, you've got a score line. So you just want to notch, okay? Just cutting a small amount off, very small amount off of there. So it's not right down to the score line. You're just taking the corners off. Then you want to fold and burnish, okay? Fold and burnish, and then you're going to very simply attach B to A. So I'm going to do it by just lining them up like so, okay? Then I will hold it flat on my desk, make sure it hasn't moved. I'll lift that bit up. I'll get my tape removing element tool, which is a poker tool that my friend made me, and then that attaches them. And obviously you've got 2 of everything. Okay, so you're going to end up with 2 of these booklets. So when you've got these, what you want to do is you want to get one and you want to turn it that way. These are your bases. So one's going to open to the left and one's going to open to the right. So write on them right and left. Okay, so this is my left and this is my right. I'm going to put the right to one side, and I've cut all of the pieces for my right. Okay, and I'll construct those off camera because it's exactly the same as the left, just in mirror image. Okay, and then when I've put those pieces together, I'll come back on camera. So I'm just going to give that an extra burnish. So your first step is your C piece, and C is going to go right on top of A here. Okay, so you cut it and score it according to the cutting guide. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our ruler. And because this is going in the left booklet, we're going to measure from the left cut edge in 3.5 inches and make a mark. Okay, and then we're going to go to the right side and we're going to go from the bottom up 3.5 inches. Okay, so 3.5 inches and make a mark. Okay. So then when you're doing the one for the right side, you do the same thing, but you do it the other way around. So you'd measure 3.5 inches from the right side across and from the bottom left up. So you're just doing it so it's mirror image. Okay, so you're going to have one that goes that way and one that goes that way. Are you with me? That's the only complicated, slightly complicated mirror image element that we've got. The rest are super simple. So then I put it in my trimmer. I've got my pencil mark there. I put that right in the cutting track. Don't know if you'll be able to see it because obviously of the bright light. So I put that right in the centre of my cutting track and I hold it. And then you can kind of swivel your card. Okay. And I'm looking for the next one. It's almost easier if you just fold that. Let me just make that line extend there. If you fold that 1/2 inch in on that side, it might make it easier for you. Okay, so again, I'm putting that line in my cutting track and I'm looking for that line and I'm lining them both up right in the centre of my cutting track. I'm putting my track down and I'm pressing it. It's really important you press your cutting track down. It holds your card, stops it slipping, and then you're cutting at an angle. Okay, and that's how you get your angled pocket. Okay, so I just, for some reason, I just like to just notch that bit. I don't like it sticking out. Okay, so I'm going to have to add tape on this one. I didn't add tape before. I've taped the rest because I wanted you to see how to do that. And I didn't want to waste my tape. So then you're putting your tape on close to the cut edge, between the cut edge and the score line. Okay. On all 3 sides. Right up. Make sure every bit of that's covered. Doesn't matter if, you know, don't be thinking, oh, I'm going to waste 3mm of tape. It doesn't matter. 3mm of tape being wasted is better than having your edges not stuck down. Okay. If you're using tape, I highly recommend Score Pal tape. I have just bought mine from the Mad Scrapper in the UK. I think they're based in Scotland, I'm not sure. And it was quite a reasonable price. It was cheaper than it was on Amazon. Okay. Did they charge me postage? I think they did, but I don't think it was a lot. So then you want to turn it over and you'll see where your score lines cross. You've got like an X. So you want to cut across the X at an angle like that. Okay, and across that X at an angle like so. Then you fold your pieces in. Fold that in. And I'm going to say this, and I'm only going to say it once. Check your work. Make sure when you've cut those, that these angled pieces here, when they're folding in, aren't overlapping. Okay, I normally say it 100 times in a video. I'm going to try not to say it. It's super important. Otherwise, if that flap lays on top of that flap because it's not cut right, okay, it's going to add bulk and it's not going to sit flat in on your page. Okay, I'm going to have to do extra burnishing on mine because my cardstock is super thick. So bring in your left piece and you've got A there. So we're sticking this right on top of A, and we're going flush with this side and the bottom, not up to the spine. Flush with the cut edge there, okay? And if you knew how I do it is I will remove just the side, okay? And then and leave the tape on the rest so that it's not all sticking in the wrong place. Then I'm looking for that corner, okay? And I'm looking to line it up with the edge. Okay, and then that means I can get that on nice and straight. Then I can flip it out and I can remove the rest of my tape easily. Okay, I have the bin at the side of me, so I can put my tape straight in the bin. Tidy as you go, not in general, you know, just when you're making something like this, otherwise you get yourself in a kerfuffle. Okay, and give it a burnish, and that is your C pocket on. So then we come to the D pocket, okay? Again, you're going to have 2 intersecting score lines. Turn it over on the back so that you can see them. Cut across the X. Cut across the X. Get rid of those. Move that out of the way. We're going to fold and burnish. I'll try and stay really focused and really serious. So if I'm not being silly and giggly like normal, it's because I'm in teacher mode, okay? I'll try. Can't always guarantee it. Just checking my work, yes. Okay, so D is going to go across from C. So here's C, D is going to go here. It's going to go flush with the cut edge and flush top to bottom, okay? So again, I'm just going to remove one side of sticker. I'm still learning making folios and journals myself. So, you know, I don't always get it perfect. I don't always get it straight. So that's what helps me. And that's helped me get that lined up. Okay, so that it's not on wonky. Because once it's on, it's on. Especially if you use Scorpel tape. You can use glue. I just don't have patience to wait for it to dry. Okay, so now I should be able to just fold that over and that will stick down fine. I'm going to give it a burnish to make sure that that's all nice and flat. Okay, so now we're going to close that. So we've got C and D, we're going to close it. Okay, and now we're on to E1 and E2. Okay, so E1, very simply, fold and burnish. We're going to remove our tape. And this is going, so here's your left side. You've got a pocket there. It's going by the spine, what looks like the spine here. So turn the spine towards you, okay? And you want to centralise it. I'm not measuring it because it doesn't matter that much. Just do it by eye, but you want it really flush on that edge and as straight as you can, okay? Can you see how it's lined up nice and straight there? It's not protruding over, hopefully. So then you've got E2. This, again, is going to be a pocket. So we're going to turn it over, and where those score lines intersect, we're cutting across. And we're cutting across. Don't forget, you can pause the video. Pause it, rewind it, slow it down. It's all in the bottom, in the settings. If I'm going too fast, pause it. Rewind it, watch it again. I do suggest that you watch the video all the way through before you start and assemble so that you've got an idea of where I'm going. Okay, right. There's also a pocket coming up in a minute that is not on your cutting guide. I missed it off. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. It's really important you pay attention because there is an extra pocket. All right, really important. So now this is going to go, so there's E1 that we've just attached. This is going to go there so that you're accessing it from the left. And it's going to go flush top and bottom, but I don't want you to stick it right up to the score line. And I'm going to tell you why. If you put it right up to the score line, okay, then when you've got a photo in as well, then when you close it, it's not going to close snug. It's going to catch, okay? So we're removing the tape back in. And we're going to line it up about 1/8 of an inch away. Okay, there's no exact measurement, but about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, that way, if you've got bulk in your journal, in your folio, then it'll create its own little gusset, okay, kind of thing. So that's that one done. So now we're on to F1 and F2. Okay, now I'm going to give you the measurements for the missing pocket. So on your cutting guide, we're doing F1 and F2 now. You want to add in, after F2, F3. And this is a pocket that's going to go here when we've done this. Okay, completely missed it off the cutting guide. I'm not changing them all. I've uploaded them all. People have already printed them out. F3, write it on your cutting guide. Okay, and the measurement for that is 8 5/8 by 3 1/2. You need 2 of them, 1 for each side. We're going to score along the, what's this? The 3 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then on the 8 5/8 inch side, 1/2 inch each side. Okay, so that's the missing pocket. Right, let's carry on with this. So F1, fold and burnish along that score line. Okay, and then remove your tape. So bring your page back in. We've still got the page closed. That's E1. Okay, this is your open edge. You want to turn that towards you. Okay, it's going the opposite side, and they're going to overlap like so. And this is going to go flush with the cut with this edge. All right. So if needs be, weigh that down a bit. That's not very heavy. Weigh it down a bit. This wants to go right up against the edge and centralise it. Again, I'm not giving you a measurement. If you want to do it in the middle exactly, then go for it. Measure it, okay? Make sure you've got even space top and bottom. But doing it by eye is more than adequate. Now, at this stage, I added magnets, okay? So, I'm going to mimic adding my magnets with some tape. So you open F1 and measure in about 1.5 inches, quite far in. I don't like it when magnets are right at the edge because you can't stick your paper on them. It's well annoying. So yeah, about 1.5 inches away. Put your magnet, put tape over the top. So I've got a magnet under there, pretend. Okay, so there's a magnet under there. Put your second magnet on top. Okay, so that you've got the right polar opposites. Put a dab of glue on the top of that magnet. Then fold it over and press. That will leave an imprint of glue on here. Take this magnet off of here. Okay. You'll be turning it, yeah, take it off. Would you be turning it round? I can't think. Take it off. Make sure you're staying with the right polar opposite. Put it on that blob of glue and then tape it down again. Okay. Just making sure you've got the right polar opposite. Okay. So that obviously they're sticking together and not repelling. Okay. And that's how you add your magnets. I don't want to waste my magnets. I'm not being funny. I've only got about 6. And this is just to show you how to do it. I've already made my folio. It's here. I'm not making another. So that's that. So now we're on to F2. Okay, so this is going to go on top of a F1. Now there's an important step here. So F2. Okay, so what you can do here is you've got your scores, turn it over, and you've got a score line on one long side and one long side has no score line. Okay, on the one with the score line, measure 1 inch up to the cut edge inwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just have to check with this ruler because I sometimes get it wrong. And draw a line. So you're measuring in 1 inch from the cut edge. So you've got 1/2 inch and a score, then you'll have another 1/2 inch. Turn it and you want to do the same at both sides. But not along the top. And you know which is the top because the top doesn't have a score line. So where you've got these pencil marks now, you want to cut them out. up to where they intersect. Not all the way down to the bottom. Don't go cutting all the way along your pencil marks to the bottom and cutting your pocket into pieces. Pay attention. Okay, you can use a craft knife. Well, you can see how accident prone I am. I'm just not risking it. I quite like my fingers, thank you. So where I can, I'll just use scissors. And that's a simple cut. You can easily use scissors there. So then, whilst you're on the back, where the score lines intersect, cut across them at an angle. Okay, again. All right. And then you can carefully fold and burnish those score lines. Okay, do it carefully because obviously you've got a much thinner frame now. Okay, turn it over and burnish. So be careful because you've got a bit more of a delicate structure there. Okay, so put it back on its front again so that the back's facing you. I've given you the measurement for the acetate. So when I'm adding acetate, I'll remove the bottom sticky piece. Get off. Don't use anything any wider than 1/4 of an inch. If you're good with glue, use glue. I would make a mess. Then you get in your acetate, okay, and you're going to line the top edge of the acetate up with the top edge of this. And you're also going to centralise it, okay, so that none of your tape shows. And this is the reason I use red line tape. Then I can see where that tape is, okay. So I've got it centralised. And now I can press. And then I can just lift the sides up and I can remove that other tape back in from the sides. Okay, and press. And obviously you're making 2. 1 for each side. Got a bit of paper stuck on there. Got some paper stuck on mine somehow. Where's that? Where is it? Get off. All right. So that is that. Okay, so now we're going to bring our page back over. So F1. So this pocket here, again, has been cut ever so slightly smaller than the actual flap so that it's not catching on anything. Okay, it's more important on the other side, I think. Is it? No, not really. So what I've done here is I have attached it up to the edge, up to the cut edge. So that it's leaving us with just a small gap near to this edge here. Okay, I'll show you. Just to make sure that it's not catching on anything. Okay, we don't want that. Well, let me put some white paper under F1 so you can see. So we put in this pocket here, flush against the edge here and here, not flush here. Okay, so that it's just not in the way. Okay. And burnish. I'm not convinced I've got that on totally straight. But hey ho, we'll go with it. Mine's not on totally straight and I can tell it's not because my acetate's buckled. But it's Scarpal tape, so never mind. Make sure yours is on straight. Do as I say, not as I do. Right, so that's that section. So now this is the missing pocket, okay? And it's F3. I just gave you the measurements for it. If you weren't paying attention, it's not on your cutting guide. You need to add it after F2. F3, okay? 8 5/8 by 3.5 inches. We're scoring 1/2 inch on each of the short edges and 1/2 inch on one long edge. Panic over, Amanda forgot a pocket. I'm not a robot. I do forget. And I checked about 10 times as well and I still forgot a piece. Never mind. Right, let's get back to focus and serious. Fold and score. Fold and burnish, I beg your pardon. Checking my works, can't help it. Okay. So this pocket has been cut again ever so slightly smaller, so you need to centralise it. And it's being cut smaller so that when these close, it's not catching on the side of this pocket. Otherwise it won't lay nicely. Okay. I'm removing my tape and I'm going to try and do it by eye. So this is going on B. Okay, so there's those that we've done. There's C and there's A, there's D. So this is going inside here. Okay, and we're centralising it. So we want it, it's easier actually if you open the whole thing up. Okay, so you want it flush to the bottom but central. So you've just got a hair width between those score lines. So it's not on the score line and it's not catching on the score line. You've just got about a 1/16 of an inch between. Okay, flip it back over. All right, so now we've got our G pieces. So G2 is the bottom, there's the pocket, G1 is the top. Okay, let me just get a paper clip to clip those out of the way because I've not added my magnets. Okay, so I'm just going to clip those together for now. All right, so G1 top. So you've done your cutting and you've done your scoring. So when you score, it makes a dent in the paper. That's your dented side. And then the back side is like a lump. Okay, that's your lumpy side or your bumpy side. You want to put the tape on the top score mark on the bumpy side. Because when we fold and burnish, this is going to wrap around the back of the entire page. Okay, so that's why we've put the tape in a different place. So please take note, if you put tape on there, it's not going to be right. Okay, so this is going to go there. And it's going to attach to the very back of piece A, what was piece A. Okay, now this can be a little bit tricky. I probably will make it look more difficult than it is. Okay, so I'm going to make my life easier and I'm just going to pin my whole thing closed like so, just to reduce that bulk a bit to help me. Okay, just to help me. So I'm going to remove my tape. And what did I do? Did I do an inch? Let me see what I did, because I didn't centralise it. Yeah, I've done it an inch. So I've done mine an inch. So I'm just going to mark an inch in there. And I'm going to do it at the bottom for when I attach my bottom one as well. Okay. All right. So then you want to line it up. Okay. And you're going to kind of wrap that around. Now don't press fully yet. Okay. Because you want to make sure that that is straight. Okay. So I've attached it to the back there. If you can just see, it's up to the score line, but it's not on it. In fact, if anything, I've probably put my tape a little bit high. Let me have a look. I can see that tape. I've probably just added my tape a little bit high. When you are putting tape on these, make sure it's as close to the cut edge as you can get. Okay. I'm not worried about it. Okay. So that's that one. So let's just clip these back together to help us do the bottom section. So here is G2, which is the bottom. Again, the tape's on the lumpy or bumpy side. Give it a good burnish. Okay. And I'm going to remove my tape. And I am wrapping it around the whole thing, right to the back. Can you see this is attached to the back? To the very, very back. Okay. And it's going to be the same here. Okay. I'm just turning it this way so I can see. All right. So I'm tentatively making sure that that is there. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that they're kind of evenly lined up. Right, I've done that quite well. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So I can press now. Okay, and that's that. So G1 goes over the top of G2, and then you've got G3, which is a simple pocket. So we're going to cut it across the score lines. Okay, we're going to fold and burnish. Now, this is going to create a pocket for here. If you put your tag in, it will hold this flap closed. If you also want magnets, you can put a magnet in and do it the same way that I showed you before. You've got quite a large overlap there. You've got, is it about 2 inches? You've got 1 3/4 overlap. So if you're adding a magnet, don't put it right to the edge. Move it quite far in. Have a look how much space you've got and put it quite far in. I'd put it, how much overlap did you say you had? You've got 1 3/4 overlap. So I'd be going at least 1 1/2, 1 1/4, 1 1/2 and putting my magnet there. Okay? Not right close to the edge. Otherwise your paper doesn't stick over the top of them and it's a pain in the bottom. Okay, so remove our tape back in from here. And this is going on top of G2. So you've got your score line, you've got your gusset there and then your score line. So this wants to line up the best you can with that score line and the edge to edge. Try and get it straight, Amanda. Edge to edge. Okay, and that creates your pocket, which you can then add your tag, which locks the entire page, stops anything. Okay, so if you don't have magnets, just use a tag. You don't have to have a magnet there on this one, but I would advise it. Just makes it neater. So that's how you do it. And then you do the exact same thing with the other pages, but in mirror image. So for example, instead of putting this on the right side, you put it on the left side. This bit, instead of being on the left, goes on the right. These, instead of being 1 inch in from the left, they're going 1 inch from the right. So I'm going to go and create the second page, which is exactly the same as this, but in mirror image. And then we'll be back and I will show you how to make and add them to the cover. I'm sorry if it's a long video, but you can always watch half of it now, go and have a brew, and then watch the other half. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I've done the right side, which is a mirror image of the left side. I just want to double check that you've got that concept in your brain the right way around, because I did it wrong. So before we move on to the cover, so your pages are mirror image. So these, on the left side, it's 1 inch in from the left side. On the right side, it's 1 inch in from the right side. These flaps here, now this is the bit, and I got it wrong on mine, okay? These go on the B flap. So your A flap is the one at the back with your C pocket on. Your B flap was the one with the hinge. Then you've got the D flap. You need to make sure that that's closed before you attach these 2 flap pieces, flap pockets, and the inside pocket. Okay, so those 3 elements are all going on the B piece when it's closed. Don't do them. Don't, make sure you're double checking that you're not sticking them on that bit, which is going to be the back. So find your C with your angled pocket. That's going to glue down onto the cover. So double check, okay? Otherwise, if you glue these and this on the back, then it's wrong. It needs to open like that, okay? Just double checking to make sure it's 100% clear. If you're unsure, watch it again, okay? So here's the right, this is the left side. It opens that way. This is your B piece, okay? That's your A piece with your C pocket, your angled pocket. That, pretend that's glued to your desk, okay? And you can't do anything to it. Make sure you've got them the right way up and that's closed before you add these and that pocket. Otherwise, you'll get yourself in a pickle, okay? Okay, so I'm going to very quickly show you the construction of the cover, and then all we do is we glue all of this to the cover. Okay, super simple. So I may well speed up the making of the cover, then when it comes to attaching these, I'll slow it back down and explain it in real time. So we're starting with the cover. So cut your pieces according to the cutting guide and lay them out. Double check that you've got these pieces the right way around, because on one side they're shorter than the other, and you'll know which is the right side, because if you've got it that way, your spine will look like it's too big. So you need it the way where it's the same size as the spine. Okay, I'm doing the fabric tape method today. You can wrap it with cardstock like you would a traditional mini album. I like this method. I learnt this from Paper Phenomenon. You'll also see it by, is it My Creative Spirit? She also does this, and I've seen a few others. Who did it first? I don't know, but I learned it from Paper Phenomenon. So you need 6 pieces, okay? One for there, one for there, one for there, one for there. That are going to go on the back, and then these two, once that's all joined together, will go in the middle on top. Okay, so I'm going to speed this process up because I've done it before. Most of my followers will have already seen it, and we'll always start with the spine. So I'll show you one first and then we will crack on. Okay, so this is super sticky, this stuff. I've left links to where I buy it 100 times before. I get it from Amazon, AliExpress or Amazon, but it's dear on Amazon. So AliExpress. Okay, so we start with the spine, and we're adding the spine on about just under halfway. Okay, and we cut these strips just short of the height. Okay, so just a little bit short. So just under halfway, roundabout. Okay, so if you look, I've cut them so they're not exactly the same length, they're just under. All right, because you don't want any tape protruding top or bottom. So then we're going to do the second piece. Okay, be careful with it, it is super sticky. Use a non-stick bone folder to help you lay it down. Okay, I've got another one. Sorry if you can hear a load of noise. One of my neighbours has got a Lamborghini and it makes a right racket. Okay, so then we're going to stick that on, and if your tape overlaps at the back, that's even better because it gives for a nice neat finish. Okay, and I'm sticking that on. All right, so then how I attach these, I am actually going to use my new spacing tool. Okay, so I will put that in there up against my spine, and that's going to give me a 1/8 of an inch gap, and then I can put my chipboard on top, butt it up against there and press. No, that's not straight. I've done it the right, I've put my chipboard on the wrong way. Make sure you've got your chipboard the right way around, that the tallest measurement is going up and the shortest measurement is going across. There we go. Okay, and then I can take that out because it's metal, it doesn't stick. I put it in the other side. Just check I've got it the right way up. Check that it's the same height, and it is. Okay, and I can now put my chipboard there. I've not got that straight. That's better. Perfect. Okay, that's all the spacing that I need. And then I'm going to add one there, and then we're going to add them in the middle. I'm going to show you one of the middle pieces because this is how you want to do it. And I'll do this and the top bit and I'll fast forward it. So you want to remove your backing, okay? And then you want to stick it, but you only want to stick it on this side. Don't let it stick in the gusset or on the spine. So place it on, but kind of hold it so that it doesn't, and you want it about halfway, but then lift it up so it's not going anywhere and sticking on there. Okay, so I'm just holding it out of the way. I'm smoothing it down, and then what I do is I actually go in with my nail, okay, and get right up against the edge of that first piece of chipboard, right up against it, so that you're almost wrapping that, it's super thin as this tape, you're almost wrapping that tape right around the edge of that chipboard. Can you see? Then I'm going to go in with my bone folder, and I'm still holding this so it's not sticking. It's not sticking in the gusset, and it's not sticking on there. And I'm now going to start and push it against the back of that other piece of black tape. Then I'm going to push that way up against the edge of the spine chipboard. So you're creating a completely squared off edge. Then we're going to just press it. Okay, don't worry too much if you get a bit of a wrinkle, it will iron out. Oops. Okay. And just make sure that that is adhered right up against the lip, because your chipboard's got a lip. Okay, see that lip there? You're making sure that that tape's right pressed in against that lip. Okay, and the same here. Let's have a look at the back. The back's nice and smooth. Done that all right. Okay, so then we're speeding this up. So I've done the exact same on the second part of the spine, how I explained on the first part. Okay, do it exactly the same. Just be careful not to use the sharp edges of your bone folder, because whatever material it is, it could puncture it. Then I add it to the sides, about halfway. Okay. There we go. Then you're measuring from tape edge to tape edge, and you're cutting your length, and you're cutting 2 of them. Then peel the backing off carefully. Okay, get it straight on your desk and lay the book on top, going over about halfway. So you're putting all of that on top of the tape about halfway. Then I'm using my corner angle finder, and I'm marking with pencil just to make sure that I get tidy corners, and then we're chopping them off at an angle, just like you would with traditional cardstock wrapping. Then we're going to wrap. I start with the sides, I pull it up against the lip of the chipboard, and then coax it over, nice and tight. Tuck them corners in, push them flat, and then lift the top part up. Now when you're doing that, you start at one side, and then work towards the middle, creating a bubble, and then push the bubble into the gussets. Okay, and you're done. When you have finished wrapping your cover, okay, I've not done the best job on mine. It's a good job I'm not selling it. You can't get it perfect every time. Okay, so when you're adding these sections, what I did was I added tape all the way around the perimeter, strong tape, and then I put glue in. Okay, make sure you've got them the right way, so you know which is the left, because it's got the 1 inch there and that bit's wider, and you know that this is the right because you've got 1 inch there and that bit's wider. Make sure you've got it the right way up. Okay, this is the bottom with the pocket here. Okay, and you want to glue it so that the edge of here, okay, the edge of the back piece lines up with the edge of the chipboard here, but just a hair away. Okay, and then if you look before you commit, if you lay it down and do a dry run, you will see that you've got an 1/8 of an inch border, top, side and bottom. Okay, and that's what you're looking for. And there won't be an 1/8 of an inch here, it will be more or less up to the edge of the chipboard. There's plenty of room for it to close there because we've got that big spine. It's absolutely fine. So there's the edge of your chipboard there. So not in your gusset, up to the edge of your chipboard, and then centralise it top and bottom and adhere it. And that's all there is to it. It is actually really super simple, and that will complete your folio. All you have to do now is go away and decorate it with some pretty paper. I can highly recommend the Trick or Treat collection from Create with Scrimpingmommy, or indeed have a look on my Ko-fi shop. There's lots and lots of other yummy papers on there for you to choose from. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.